I found a way to make the two coexist, not codependently. So, hello, I'm Karl.
Yay!
Schultz. And I am Karl, and I was Harry Hill's one to watch in the Radio Times Christmas edition 2012.
What
wrong? I've spent 10 years now wondering if you can sue someone for getting your hopes up. No, I wouldn't be able to afford the court and he would charge me for them. I was good friends with him for about 14 months. Do you remember after TV Burp ended, he was looking for the next big vehicle, and well, I might help you. But no, I really rinsed that friendship with quite a short-sighted way, and that's why I'm here. I like this uplighting. I feel like Canterbury Cathedral. Anyone else feel that? Things you notice at the back. I'm sorry to say I'm not going to be as funny as Katie. I just really wanted to urge some expectation management. I'm going to begin my set now. Is that all right? When I say set, I mean the allotted time I've been given. Rather than saying that I'm performing, I think the time that I've been allotted is a better description. Just on the theme of spirituality, I thought I would use my Insight Timer app to help just bookend it. So, because it comes with that sound, I like that sound. There will be an interval bell as well, not for you to go, just up. If I'm halfway through a sentence and you hear that again, I reckon it'd be fun. The guy that I was talking to about this gig in the steam room about 3 hours earlier said, "Yeah, I'd laugh." This one really is supporting me in so many ways. So, Katie, it makes sense. Sorry to use you as a platform. Katie being really good there makes sense and makes me feel better about it, because she was saying earlier that she got her venue at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't. I was told my working title, I was a key worker in a pandemic, so come see my show, you cunts. Not this year, keep working on it. I thought, okay. But Katie got a venue, but then I saw her do a good set. I thought, fair's fair, I'll come manage it. There's the Brighton Fringe, isn't there? And there's one in Krakow. I was invited to the Krakow Fringe Festival. And literally the email said, just come. Just come. Are you courting? Is this, where are we? Where are you? Not where are we? Where are you two within the? I was nearly said at the front of the end of the relation. No, I mean like where. Let's say it's going to go on, or it was to go on. Are we?
They're bonking.
You know what I mean? Are you sexually active?
They're bonking.
Are you? You're bonking. They told you.
They're bonking.
Are you two? You two, what's going on there? You got a bit of a hand against me, but so who are you? Yeah, you two. So thanks for coming tonight. You could have been downstairs like you planned on doing. 2.5 minutes in.
Is that your set?
No, that's the gold onto the silver.
Wheeling away the time.
I'm so glad you said that earlier. No, I was a key worker in a pandemic. Probably why this material's not as polished as it could be. But no. No, I mean it's a Thursday. You're not clapping, are you? You're not clapping. I thought I'd have to take the stand up again because I got addicted to the applause, but it stopped. It stopped, didn't it? By about November. I work at a hostel for homeless guys in King's Cross. Thank you. I used to feel that way about it as well. Someone I was talking about, I was thinking about, I mean, bring life on stage and talk about it. And someone said to me, by someone I mean my dad. My dad said, "Is there was anything funny about that?" No, yeah, I think so. I mean, we're all one, aren't we? We're all one, even though some, that was my answer, I guess. You can be in a hostel and be daft. I can imagine the sitcom. It would work, I think. That's what I'm hoping as my next email to Harry is. Okay. Example. Earlier this week, as soon as I get into work around midday, this is doing late. It's not an overseas. Someone's at reception, demanding that I do something about the fact that someone has stolen his stolen Santander bike, and he wants to know what I'm going to do about it. And I said, "Don't panic. What did it look like?" And it made me laugh. And he said, "Well, obviously, how they talk. Obviously." And I went, "Guess where did you look last?" You've got to amuse yourself. There's gallows humour. That's the act. I said as if like an example. That's the only example. The rest of it's been quite dark. Something I found out last week. If you ever had a chat with someone, and you haven't really spoken to them in a long time, or you've got a bit of an ambiguous relationship over the years, but this is the best chat you've had. In as much as it's going well. It's the most you've ever spoken, and it's going well. And you think, and you're noticing it. And then at some point, you notice some part of them, even though they've not moved, some part of them internally shifts to face you. Some hitherto unseen part of their personhood is now facing you, and is preparing to say, "Well, listen, I know we've had our differences in the past, right?" And you think, "I didn't know we had any differences." Right? Don't say that. Because I realise the magnanimous gesture that they're in the throes of making, right? You've just made 23 times harder by just going back. "Listen, I know we've had our differences in the past. I didn't know we had any differences."
Mate.
Well, if I'd have known we'd had differences, I'd have said something. You were such a prick. You were such a good. Well, if you're going to be like that, anyway. On to the bronze.
Get it off your chest.
Right, that's all. That was my attempt at being a stand-up, and now I'm just gonna talk about the thing that I wanted to talk about, which is because I didn't actually want to say any of that. That gives you no succor, does it? That doesn't. It does. It's a biblical word. It means it doesn't give you any kind of refuge to know that the 6.5 minutes you just sat through, I wasn't enjoying either. At least at least we're here for him. He's not here for himself. Right. So I don't know if you can notice by all these trinkets that I've got. I mean, been meditating 14 days in a row so far. That's the most I've done. Most I've done actually, 14 days in a row. I haven't done. Before that, I hadn't done 13 days in a row, 12 days in a row I've never done. Never done 11 days in a row, 10 days in a row. I've never done 9 days in a row, 8. I've never done 7, I haven't done a week, 7 days, I've never done 6, and done 5 days, 4. I've done 3 days. I've done 3 days twice, a couple of years ago, and it was the happiest time of my life. And then I regressed. But I've been getting into it. That's really nice. And I went along I thought, after 2 weeks of doing anything, you think, okay, now it's time to form a communal identity for yourself around it. I went to the London Buddhist Centre. Have you heard of it? I think you can imagine what it is. It's in Bethnal Green. I went along to it, and it Yeah, go next Tuesday. It's much nicer than watching me. I won't be. I'll be there, but I won't be talking. You don't even have to look at me. That's one nice thing about it. I might be looking at you. I'll come back to that later. And so you might mention the hypersexual bit. So I went along, and I went along sort of sheepishly because you know you would, wouldn't you? And I get there, and it's all very nice. It was what I wanted it to be. It was unpretentious. It wasn't showy. It was nice. It was very nice. The people were nice. And I get there, and we broke off. There was a lot of people there actually. We broke off into two groups. People who had been regulars before, knew the practice, and a starters group. And I went with the starters group. Not because I'm a starter, but because a nice Colombian lady in leggings. I noticed. I mean, I wasn't. I went with an open heart. I noticed a bum, so I followed her into this room. Like I said, it's the hypersexual bit. I followed her into this room, and it was a lovely room. It was sort of like this, and just at you know, there was a large Buddha. Kind of like that, a large golden Buddha, which I mean in any other room would be ostentatious, but in this room it was fine. It met my expectations, you know. When we all sat down and we did something called Metta Bhavana. Have you heard of this? It's loving kindness meditation, right? It's about cultivating positive, unconditional positive regard to yourself, and then you think of someone you know, and you sort of pass that on to them. You think of a neutral person. Some of you, maybe a shopkeeper whose face you might recognize. There you go. it was, you know, it was first call back of the night. So a neutral person, someone you have an issue with, a problem with, and then you think of all of you together, and then you try and take that love and you think of like extend it to all beings, right? And it sounds easy enough, but I don't know if you ever tried to meditate. It's tough because your mind wanders, you know. And I was already very much thinking about how I could win the Buddhist status game to get this girl comfort at the end of it. And every time my mind wandered, that's what it wanted to. And of course you bring it back. So it begins where you're trying to summon unconditional positive regard. Loving kindness is what metta means, and bhavana means creation or imagine. And you're trying to think of it to yourself. And it's hard. It's hard actually to think nicely of yourself. We don't do it very much. I had a note about it rather than let me not just improvise, because let me actually like attach it to a joke. Oh yeah, so there's 4 lines you say. So in this instance it was, I mean it's not funny, it's interesting potentially, isn't it? It's interesting. Sometimes at the Fringe, the funniest show is not the best one, it's the most interesting one to say. And I believe that. Although my last review did begin with, well, this definitely didn't work. But he also called me clever and original. Make your mind up, Steve. So you say 4 lines, and you said, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, may I make progress. Now, may I be well, I think that's something you can easily enough say to yourself. Be well, I feel well. I've been to steam rooms and things like that, I feel well. May I be happy, I think you can, even if you don't feel happy, you can hope to be happy. It's a thing you can sort of gently, easily, bidably enough say to yourself. May I be free from suffering. That's a tough one. Free from suffering, what does that mean? I was suffering because I was thinking about how much I wanted that woman on my shoulder. That's true, it's not funny, is it? Oh, I thought I'd qualify that with a line. It's really horrible. Particularly as I've set up talking about like Buddhism, and it's quite a nice thing. So like, you're giving me permission to say.
I reckon.
But the thing, right, it's a horrible. I mean, it's not an invented line. It's something that I truly feel. But that doesn't make it better. She could go for a 10-mile run. I'd still want her to sit in my face. That's what I was thinking at the London Buddhist Centre doing Wish Yourself Well. But I think that's it. Okay, I think I'm being vulnerable at admitting that. She wasn't interested. She wasn't interested. That's the payoff. You weren't interested. But your mind wanders furiously, and I noticed that. Okay, so the point of the hypersexual. Well, I feel like I need to qualify this at some point. I feel like it's cow shit in something. We all have. Look, we all have comfort zones, and they don't have to be productive or constructive. They don't have to be good, positive, ostensibly comfort zones. And if you're fucking nervous, you fall back to what makes you feel comfortable. I went to this London Buddhist Centre. I was shitting myself for not already being enlightened. And for not it's weird, you go in, you haven't already got the mindset, because I was thinking okay, so what's the status game here? How do you look the most Buddhist? Or, you know what I mean? I'm not there yet.
Orange top.
Orange top, yeah. And my comfort zone's always just been okay, you're in a new room, lots of people, who can you chat up? Who can you chat up? And now if you just add a bit of fuel to that, you'll find yourself in a room meditating with people, thinking quite disgusting things about someone who's there for, who's there for the right reasons. And then the last line that was just complicating it was, may I make progress, which didn't help. I wonder if, I wanted to say, alright, imagine this being said in front of, you're sat in a room, it's a relatively small audience. So maybe the context of hearing me say this is just a person you don't know saying this at you. If this was a room, say, full of 100 people, would it be I can't believe he's saying this? And it would the context would be different. Maybe I'm going to cling to that. And then you thought of something, think of a friend, I did that. And that was easier. Think of a neutral person. There was a guy who went into the other room, he'd just come from work, he had a blue tie on, I vaguely remembered his face. I wished him well, I found that relatively easy to do. Think of someone you got a problem with. That's tough. We've all got people we've got problems with. Suddenly I remembered another comedian. That's the prick. Right, come on, let's wish unconditional love to this cunt. That will serve him. That will teach him. 5 minutes of wishing him unconditional love, and then at the end it's the group. So you have to imagine all of the people you've imagined. So I imagined us holding hands. So it's my friend, the guy who's come from work, someone I hate, and me, and I'm just thinking, this is a weird group. It's also my fault we're all here. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't even said this story to myself yet. So and then you wish love to all beings, which is kind of easy to do, but I think that Buddhism is something I'd like to get into, but it's a bit tough, because I don't think it naturally agrees with someone who has fashioned a personhood around the acquisition and development of big bums and steaks. It's just not. It's not what you think of, is it? The Dalai Lama, you don't think of it. I don't know. Could I be the next Russell Brand? Anyway. I've got 3 minutes left. I mean, only because the app says. Thank you very much for sitting through this thus far. I thought I would, rather than end on saying thank you for sitting through it, I thought I'd try and land the plane with something else and just get this bit through, because I very much mean thank you for letting me say what I've just said at you, because it's maybe over an hour I could make it more palatable, but over 15 minutes I don't know who, I can't imagine, please don't tell me who you think you met tonight. The strongman thing. Thanks for mentioning it. I've got nothing to say about it other than I used to have really long hair, and strongman's the reason I don't. Not because people who do strongman, do you know, like the Atlas Stones and all that kind of thing? Not because they don't have long hair and I'm trying to go. It's good they all do. I went to London Strongest Novice and I came last. But I enjoyed it. Had a lovely day. Got a coach out of it. I went along and I had long hair. And the thing is, I am keratin blessed. I naturally grow beautiful hair. Like it's quite shockingly nice hair. You know, I think there's memes about it, about like guys don't have to, you know, women do all this effort. Guys can just like dip it in the loo and they got it. But that's me, that's true. Like I grow beautiful, luxurious, leonine hair. It's fantastic, you know. I should have brought it along tonight. It would have framed this horror story I've told you. That's nice. But I'll go very slowly. But the problem is, there was a woman commentating on the whole thing, and she was a bit of a blabbermouth as well. I'll be honest. She was quite loquacious, more than she needed to be. And it's a vulnerable thing. For the first time, going up in front of people and trying to lift something you don't know you can lift in front of them. It's a vulnerable thing to do, right? Particularly if it's a fucking novice comp, you know, and you go, right, I'm going to go up, I'm going to try and lift 500 pounds, 50 pounds more than I've ever lifted. Oh, sorry, that's showing off, is that if you haven't lifted 150. But you know what I mean? Okay, imagine you had. Right, and but you got to do 500, you don't do it, and you're trying to actually just summon any place you could possibly get energy or testosterone, any sense of mass. You know what I mean? Like just any way you could just bring everything into this one moment. And as I'm walking up to the platform, she says, "And you must tell me where you get your hair done." And it's quite, he cuts your dick off. 10 seconds. It's fun. Like, after Harry Hill, I did a 1,000-mile walk, moved to Margate, became a strong man, became a keeper.
Did you lift that weight though? Yay!
Can I just? I'm gonna do the worst thing that comedians do, which is not leave when they should have, which is like that applause you got there. I really should have recognised that as the best you were going to give me. But I just wanted to end by saying, I've literally been shown a light.